I did not see my brother's hands leave my shoulders. I only felt the force. One hard shove, one breathless stumble, and then the sound that would split my life cleanly in two. A crack, sharp, violent, final. Old glass gave way behind me. I fell backward through the sliding door that had stood in our living room since before I was born, the one my parents swore they would replace one day. I did not feel the floor when I landed, only the cold shock of air, the sting of something slicing across my skin, and the sudden warmth running down the side of my face. Someone screamed. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was Ethan. Everything blurred. "Oh my God, Avery." My mother's voice pitched upward, panicked. "Richard, call for help. Now. Now." It was an accident. Ethan choked out. His footsteps dragged toward me, frantic, uneven. She should not have walked away from me. She knew I was angry. "You pushed her." My mother shot back. "I barely touched her." Ethan insisted. His voice shook, the edges fraying. "She is always doing this, making everything worse." Blood trickled into my ear. My consciousness drifted like it was floating out of my body, but their voices held me tethered just long enough for one more to break through. "Move aside," a deeper voice ordered. "Elaine, lift her head very gently." That was Mr. Brooks, Caleb's father, a paramedic for almost 2 decades. He must have heard the crash from next door. "She is losing too much blood," he said sharply. "Richard, press here. Hard. Do not stop." "I cannot. There is so much," my father whispered. "Press." "Mr. Brooks repeated. "Firmer. If you want her alive when the ambulance arrives." "You have to." A warm palm steadied my cheek. My head lolled weakly toward it before everything dissolved again into blackness. In the dark, I felt myself slipping. My thoughts stretched thin, pulled by something heavy and distant. I had the strange sense of floating underwater, sound moving slowly around me. Somewhere above, someone cried. Somewhere else, someone lied. Somewhere, the world kept moving without me. The darkness deepened. Yet even as it swallowed me, I heard the faint echo of my own name, whispered like a confession and a plea tangled together. "Avery, please." I tried to respond. My lips did not move. My breath did not rise. My mind kept sinking. Just before I fully lost my grip, a clearer, steadier voice cut through everything. It was my own voice, or the part of me that still fought to survive. "Stay with the story. Do not look away now. This is where everything begins. And if you are still here with me, keep listening." What happened next changed everything I thought I knew about my family, about loyalty, about love, about the lies we learned to live with. If you want to see how someone can fall apart and still claw their way back, stay close, because I am about to take you into the dark with me. Before the glass shattered, everything in our house revolved around one person, and it was never me. I learned that early. Ethan walked into a room, and the air shifted like everyone had been waiting just for him. "Your brother has real potential," my father used to say, pride warming every word. "Division 1 potential, maybe even professional, if we keep him focused." My mother always nodded. We cannot afford distractions, especially now. Especially now usually meant me. If I came home with an award, they glanced at it politely, then turned to Ethan. If Ethan came home with a scraped knee, they acted like he had survived a war. One night when I was 13, he shoved my sketchbook off the dining table, pages scattering. "Do not put your little drawings here," he muttered. "They are not little," I said quietly. He leaned close. "You think you are better than me?" "No," I whispered, because saying anything else would only make it worse. My mother entered just as he straightened. "Everything all right?" Ethan smiled, already slipping back into the version of himself that everyone adored. Avery was getting in my space again. My mother sighed at me, not him. "Sweetheart, your brother needs quiet before practice. Go work in your room." I gathered my papers without a word. Years later, Caleb, my best friend since elementary school, noticed a bruise hidden under my sleeve. "Avery," he asked carefully, "did he do this again?" "It is nothing," I murmured. "It is not nothing," he said. "You do not have to keep shrinking just because he takes all the space." I did not answer. I had grown used to fitting myself into the smallest corner possible. The truth was simple. Ethan had been raised to believe the world would always bend for him, and when it did not, he bent the people closest to him instead. He bent me, and every time I folded, my parents repeated the same quiet warning, the same old spell they used to keep the family peace intact. "Your brother is under pressure. Avery. You know how he gets." I did know. That was the problem. The morning my acceptance packet arrived, I tried to open it quietly, the way someone opens a gift they already know they are not allowed to keep. But the moment I slid out the letter, my father looked up from behind his newspaper. "You got in?" he asked, voice flat but polite. I nodded. The New England School of Design. They chose 30 students out of the entire state. My mother's smile froze halfway. "That is nice, but let us keep this low-key. Your brother has an important scrimmage today." I folded the letter before she finished the sentence. I had learned the drill. A few minutes later, Ethan came down the stairs, lacing his sneakers while walking. "What happened?" he demanded, eyes snapping to the letter in my hand. My mother answered softly. Avery was accepted into an art program. Ethan's jaw tightened. "The one out in Providence? Yes," I said. "You have got to be kidding." He let out a short laugh. "And I am supposed to stay focused with this going on. I was not trying to." "You always are," he cut in. "You cannot just let me have one season, can you?" My father lowered his newspaper just enough to frown at me. "Avery, you know how much pressure he is under." I did not do anything. Ethan flicked my acceptance letter onto the floor. "You never do. That is the problem." That night, a new envelope arrived. Ethan tore it open before he even dropped his backpack. His eyes scanned the page, then darkened. "Duke rejected me," he said, voice splintering. My mother touched his arm. "Sweetheart, you are still our best shot at a major scholarship. This does not change anything." "Yes, it does," he snapped. "It changes everything." A loud crash shook the hallway. I found him in his room, gripping the broken pieces of a picture frame he had thrown at the wall. When he saw me, something twisted in his expression. "You did this," he said. "No," I whispered. I swear he was on me in 2 steps, his fingers fisting the collar of my shirt, dragging me closer. "You ruin everything I work for." His breath hit my cheek, hot and furious. I could not move. I could barely breathe. Footsteps approached my father's. Ethan released me instantly, replacing his rage with a polished smile. "Just talking to Avery." My father nodded, satisfied, already walking away. Ethan's eyes returned to mine, darker than I had ever seen them. "This is not over," he murmured. Something cold settled in my chest then, heavy as stone. I did not know when it would happen or what form it would take, but I felt the shift. A line had been crossed, and Ethan never stepped back from a line once he crossed it. The morning of the spring invitational felt wrong before anything even happened. Maybe it was the silence in the house, or the tightness in my chest, or the way Ethan avoided looking at me as he stomped through the kitchen, checking his phone every few seconds like he was waiting for something he already feared. A moment later, the front door slammed. His shout tore through the hallway. Another one. "You have got to be kidding me. My mother rushed toward him. "Ethan, what is it?" He held up a letter, his hand shaking. Midland State rejected me. That was my last real shot. Her face crumpled. "Sweetheart, we will figure something out." "No, you will not," he snapped. "Because you cannot fix stupid. And Avery has been screwing up my head for months." I froze where I stood. My father entered the hallway slowly. "Ethan, calm down." "I am done calming down," Ethan said. He threw his backpack against the wall. "Every time she wins something, something gets taken from me. I am sick of pretending it is a coincidence." My father exhaled heavily. "She is your sister. She ruins everything," Ethan said. "Everything." I stepped back instinctively, but he took a step forward anyway. My mother held up a hand. "Ethan, not today." "Especially today," he growled. I turned and moved down the hall toward my room. I needed to finish packing my portfolio. I needed space. But the moment I reached my doorway, Ethan was already inside. "You are going to that stupid showcase," he demanded. "Yes," I whispered. He looked around my room like it offended him. On my desk, my camera sat on its tripod, the one thing I relied on more than anything. His eyes landed on it. Something snapped. "Let us see how special your little show is without this," he said. "Ethan, do not." But he had already grabbed the camera. Before I could reach him, before I could even breathe, he slammed it against the side of my dresser. The crack of impact echoed through the room. The lens shattered. The body split. "No, please," I dropped to my knees, gathering the broken pieces. Ethan towered over me. "You cannot outshine me if you have nothing to shine with." I clutched the ruined camera against my chest. From the doorway, my father said quietly, "Ethan, enough." Ethan turned his head but did not step aside. "I am tired of her getting chances I don't. I did not take anything from you," I whispered. He laughed under his breath. "You exist. That is enough." My father's voice hardened. "Ethan, now." Ethan finally shouldered past him, muttering, "This is not finished." I stayed on the floor, holding the broken camera. My father stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching me, saying nothing. Then he closed the door and walked away. And just like that, I knew the showcase would not be the only thing breaking that day. The house felt too still after Ethan stormed out, like the walls were holding their breath. I gathered what was left of my portfolio bent corners, smudged edges, and held it tight against my chest. My mother hovered in the hallway. "We can fix your camera later," she said gently. "Just avoid your brother for now." I did avoid him, I murmured. She looked away. I started down the stairs, portfolio tucked under my arm. The living room stretched ahead, divided from the back patio by the old sliding glass door my parents never replaced. Ethan's voice cut through the silence before I reached the bottom step. "You are still going." He stood by the doorway, jaw clenched, breathing sharp and uneven. My father lingered behind him, unsure whether to intervene. "I have worked all year for this," I said. Ethan let out a low laugh. "You do not quit, do you? Even when you should." My fingers tightened around the portfolio. "This is not about you. It is always about me," he shot back. "You just pretend it is not." I stepped around him, heading for the hallway. I needed to grab my shoes and leave before anything else broke, but he moved faster. "You think you can walk away from me," he said, grabbing my arm. "When I am talking to you, let go," I whispered. "You do not tell me what to do." I pulled back. He pulled harder. My father took one hesitant step forward, then stopped, frozen between us. "Ethan, enough," my father said weakly. Ethan shoved me away from him. A quick, sharp motion born out of pure frustration. My heel caught the edge of the rug. My balance slipped. I stumbled backward. Wait! Avery. Ethan's voice broke. My shoulder hit the sliding door first, then my back, then the brittle, aging glass gave way beneath me. A deafening crack, a cold rush of air, shards exploding around me like a rain of knives. I fell through the frame and hit the patio stone, breath knocked out of my lungs. "Oh my God, Avery!" my mother screamed. Blood trickled into my ear. "Mr. Brooks appeared out of nowhere, dropping to his knees beside me. "Do not move her. She is bleeding too fast." I tried to speak. Nothing came out. Then someone whispered my name soft, terrified. "Avery, please." The world fractured, and everything went dark. In the coma, sound came before thought, like voices drifting through deep water. I could not move. I could not breathe on my own. But I heard everything. The first voice was my mother's. "This is her fault," she whispered sharply. She should have known better than to provoke him. My father answered in a low, tired voice. "Elaine, a glass door shattered. She could have died." She scared him. My mother insisted. "Ethan is under unbearable pressure. You know how fragile his focus is." My father said nothing. Somewhere inside the darkness. I tried to scream, but I had no mouth, no breath, just a silent echo trapped in my chest. Another set of footsteps entered the room. "She cannot hear you," Ethan said. His voice cracked, but he forced it steady. "Dr. Lawson said she is basically unconscious. She does not know what happened." "Ethan," my father began. I did not mean to push her that hard. Ethan rushed out. "You both know that. She is always in the way, always making things harder." My mother touched his arm. "Sweetheart, we understand." "You understand." My father's voice sharpened. "She is in a critical ward. Elaine." "There is a tube in her throat." Ethan inhaled shakily. "You told me she was the problem. You told me she distracted me. You told me she made everything harder. So why is it suddenly different now?" My mother answered in a whisper. "Because she might not wake up." Silence held them for a moment. Then Ethan exhaled, almost a sob. "If she dies, they will blame me." "They will not," my mother said quickly. "We just have to be careful about everything we say." I drifted for what felt like hours after that, until a gentler voice pulled me closer to the surface. "Caleb." He sat beside me, the scrape of a chair pulling near the bed. "Avery." "Hey, it is me." His voice shook, but held steady. "I am here every day, so you are not alone." "Okay." He exhaled, long and shaky. "I gave them your journal," he whispered. "And the photos, and the messages he sent you. I had to. You would have wanted me to." Another breath. "Your parents are trying to say it was an accident, but they do not get to decide the truth anymore." I felt something warm brush against my hand, a thumb. Trembling. "Come back," he whispered. "Please. You have too much left to do." Footsteps sounded again. A new voice, calm, clinical. "Dr. Meredith Lawson." "She is stable," the doctor murmured. "But consciousness may take time. The brain injury was severe." Caleb swallowed audibly. "But she can hear us." "Right." There was a pause. "We do not fully understand what coma patients perceive," Dr. Lawson said gently. "But speak as if she hears you. It matters." The door closed softly. Caleb leaned in again. "I will be here tomorrow," he said. And the day after that. I tried to squeeze his hand. Nothing happened, but somewhere beneath the weight of machines and darkness, his voice anchored me, held me, refused to let me drift too far. And for the first time since falling through the glass, something in the blackness flickered thin, fragile, but real. A beginning. The first thing I felt was pressure on my hand. The second was someone whispering my name like it might break. Avery, if you can hear me, just come back a little. Just a little. Caleb. I forced my fingers to move. They twitched once barely, but his breath caught. Oh my God, do it again, please. I tried. The effort sliced through my skull, but the tiniest squeeze reached him. She is responding, he whispered urgently. Nurse, she is responding. Footsteps rushed in. Machines beeped faster. A voice I dimly recognized, Dr. Lawson, spoke firmly. Avery, if you can hear me, you are safe. Just follow the sound of my voice. I fought my way upward, like swimming against a tide of pain. My eyelids felt glued shut, but after a long, shaking moment, they cracked open. Everything blurred. Light. Shapes. A figure leaning over me. Caleb's face came into focus. First, eyes red, mouth trembling. Hey. He breathed. You are here. My throat burned. No words came out. Behind him, my parents hovered at the doorway. They did not rush in. They did not reach for me. They stood there like strangers afraid to cross a threshold. My mother took a small step. Avery, sweetie. I looked away. Her breath hitched, but she did not move closer. Dr. Lawson adjusted a monitor. There will be confusion, memory gaps, pain. This recovery will take time. Caleb squeezed my hand gently. You are not doing it alone. For the first time since the glass shattered, I believed him, and I let myself breathe. I had been awake for 5 days when the social worker arrived. Her voice was calm, firm, like someone used to stepping into broken places. Avery, my name is Angela Price. We need to talk about where you will stay once you are discharged. My mother straightened immediately. She will come home with us. Angela shook her head gently. Given the circumstances, that is not automatically permitted. My father spoke for the first time since I woke up. We have done everything the hospital asked. We want our daughter home. Caleb stood at my bedside, arms crossed. Wanting it does not erase what happened. My mother glared at him. This is a family matter. No, Angela said. It is not. She turned to me. Your aunt, Marianne Hale, has offered to take you in. The court views her as a safe guardian. My mother's voice cracked. Avery, you do not need to do that. We are your parents. I stared at my hands, still bandaged, still shaking. Their house flashed through my mind, the bruises, the yelling, the broken camera, the glass. I lifted my eyes to Angela. I want to live with Aunt Marianne. My mother staggered like I had hit her. You are choosing her over us. Caleb's voice was quiet but certain. She is choosing safety. My father tried to speak, but nothing came out. Angela nodded. Then it is settled. For the first time in a long time, I felt something like air filling my lungs. I had chosen myself. The courtroom smelled like dust and fear. I was not strong enough to attend, but Caleb sat beside Aunt Marianne and told me everything later, word for word. When the sentencing ended, my parents came to the rehabilitation center. They waited in the hallway until Aunt Marianne let them in. My mother's voice trembled. Ethan received 12 years, parole after 8. They said the evidence was overwhelming. I kept my gaze steady. It was. My father swallowed hard. We are going to therapy. Together. We want to understand how things went so wrong. Aunt Marianne stood behind me, hand on my shoulder, grounding me. My mother stepped closer. Avery, we want to rebuild our relationship. Maybe we could start with a coffee, just a conversation. I shook my head. You chose Ethan over my safety for 17 years. We were doing our best, she whispered. No, I said softly. You were protecting your image, not me. My father's eyes filled, but he said nothing. Aunt Marianne touched my arm. You do not owe anyone anything. My mother's voice cracked. "We love you." I looked away. "You love the version of me who stayed silent." They left without another word, and the room felt lighter when the door closed. The envelope from the prison arrived on a Thursday afternoon. Aunt Marianne set it on the table without opening it. "You do not have to read it," she said. "I know," but I opened it anyway. Ethan's handwriting slanted hard to the right, like every word was thrown instead of written. "You stole my life. Even now. You pretend to be the victim. I will never forgive you for what you did to me. No apology, no responsibility. Just the same story he had always told, one where I was the problem, and he was the one who suffered." I folded the letter once and slipped it into a drawer. Aunt Marianne watched me quietly. "How do you feel, Free?" I said. Outside, the late afternoon sun stretched across the floor. Caleb texted me a reminder about our art therapy session with the younger teens. They were waiting, brushes ready. I grabbed my sketchbook. "If anyone listening has ever been hurt by the people who should have protected them," I murmured, "stay with me. There is life after the breaking." And I walked toward mine.